What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Badly content. Today's video, we're taking a look at a very familiar team from last season, featuring Skeledirge. This is the one I hit Legend with last season. Wanted to find out if it's still strong in the current meta, especially after that Incinerate buff. Had to try it out for myself, and spoiler alert, this team still slaps. So, let's check out the battles in the Open Great League featuring Skeledirge and company here as we get our first lead into that stupid fish. Yes, it's a Lantern. It's back. So we have Lantern, and Lantern is on almost every team in Great League this season. So take that as you will. You can take advantage of it, or you can get Core Broken Violet like I apparently enjoy doing. So we CMP tie on the first move here as it takes them 8 to get to their Thunderbolt. It would take me 1 turn plus 5 Ice Shards, which gets us to turn 16. So we land on the same turn, go for the CMP, but I go for the Icy Wind next as they no-shielded the first drill run. The first drill run is there to either get the opponent's Lantern into Shadow Ball range for Skeledirge later, or to get the first shield. And so the opponent has decided to let it go, and then they shield, and now this allows Skeledirge to get a farm at some point. So I wait out my switch timer entirely so that I can switch out. I come into Superior, look to start farming. Opponent is not swapping out right away. They come in with a Gligar, and because I was able to get some head start, I can go for this Frenzy Plant before they get to a move, and then I can stay in. I was trying to swap out, if you're looking closely, but the game just decided you're going to throw a fast move first, so that's what happened. So now the opponent can go for a dig, and I do thankfully shield up the dig, as now we are all shieldless. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball on the CMP for their Aerial Ace, as Skeledirge does handily win that CMP, taking out the Gligar here, and if the opponent comes back in with their Lantern, which thankfully they decide not to, they get the one-turn bring in there. Okay, they get the one-turn lag. I'm pretty sure that should have been a CMP tie. The opponent, I get very lucky, and the opponent's overloading on energy. Because of the Incinerate damage, they are now forced to throw earlier, which means now my Superior should be able to farm down or just tank a Weather Ball here at this point. But Lantern's not going to be able to do enough damage to take out Superior in this position, or with as much HP anyway. So I'm going to get to this Frenzy Plant, guarantee the knockout on the Lantern, and we're going to start this one off with a Kaboom just because I hate that stupid fish.
Kaboom!
Taking it out, and that's a good game. Truthfully, I think I won that because of the Incinerate damage and the one-turn bring-in. I'm pretty sure the Weather Ball knocks... Truthfully, though, I think that I would have been able to still get to the Frenzy Plant and knock out the Pelipper anyway, without having to worry about it, so I think it was winnable anyway. My opponent comes in with a Talonflame here. I'm going to bait them because the Shadow Ball would absolutely threaten a one-shot. I don't need to shield the first move. They want to go for Brave Bird, go for it. They go for the Flame Charge. That's what I figured they would do. So remember, now, when you're using 3-turn moves into these Incinerate users, is we're going to see much more of them as the season drags on, so learning the timing is going to be key here. Going for 3-turn moves like Ice Shard into the Incinerates is going to be the most optimal timing here for the 3-turn moves, as now the opponent either overtaps or was not able to get to a charge move here, and they come in with a Poliwrath, which I'm going to give them a drill run for the road before getting farmed down here. And at this point, I've pretty much got the alignment that I need here, right? So I can just put my Skeledirge, my Superior on the Poliwrath. I can eat an Icy Wind, and then we can just let it handle whatever's in the back. The opponent now comes in with their Superior. We dominate this lead with the Skeledirge. I should have just gone for the Shadow Ball, dude. I don't know why I didn't. My entire idea here was go for the Disarming Voice and farm down, and go for Disarming Voice against Poliwrath. Should have just gone for the freaking... freaking Shadow Ball, dude. I was hoping I'd be able to farm down with one Incinerate afterwards, but they survived with just too much HP. So now all I have to do at this point is get to 2 moves. I have enough HP, hopefully, to get to 3 more Vine Whips plus the Aerial Ace, living with just enough HP to live the counter damage and get 2 Aerial Aces off into the opponent's Poliwrath. We take this game by the skin of our teeth after kind of making a bit of a misplay near the end with Skeledirge, but that's okay, because wins are wins and we'll take those. Good game. Well played to my opponent. All right, getting into the next battle here, we have Skeledirge versus Mandibuzz. Not a very good matchup to start with, so I like to swap into Dugong here, and I bring out a Medicham, which is ideal. This opponent just Charm doesn't exist and it can't hurt them. So Dewgong is going to be able to get the Icy Wind off here, and I'm looking to go for another one if the opponent lets me. They're throwing right away, which tells me one of two things. One, it tells me they have Power Up Punch because they only went to 5-2. This opponent does not really care about optimal fast move timing, so I can actually adjust the way that I play accordingly. And honestly, when an opponent plays me this way, it's very easy to punish them for it, as they've now given me 2 free whole fast moves. And this matchup gets so much closer than it should have been. I could have shielded that Power Up Punch and fought for Switch if I wanted to. The opponent here, left with just a little bit of HP, again, doesn't go for any counters, just goes straight for a Power Up Punch because they want to get some chip damage in. I get a 1 Incinerate lead now, but the opponent did have 2 foul plays, or not 2, 2 Snarls registered before they swapped. So they go for the Dark Pulse here. Once again, gonna go for this Disarming Voice, hoping to either do some damage or get a shield off the opponent. They are gonna go for the no shield here, and I will be able to get the Disarming Voice off. Now, once again, opponent just now got to the Dark Pulse, and they don't seem to care about their timing. So they literally give me an entire free Incinerate. So now I'll be able to farm this Mandibuzz all the way down just about, except I go for this Snipe, but I'm not able to get it as their move registers right as I'm trying to get in that Vine Whip to take it out. But they've gotten a Azumarill in the back. Now things are getting hairy because they have a shield, and my Superior, I'm pretty sure from the amount of times I've played this, it does live the Ice Beam here, but the increased bubble damage might make that a little bit worse, but we're living with 1 HP because Superior's an absolute god and is able to take this game by, once again, the skin of his teeth. But wait, we can go... I remember this game, dude. We can come in because the Frenzy Plant didn't KO, but instead of registering my tapping on the Shadow Ball, the game was like, nah, you're going to get an Incinerate instead, fam, and it scared me, dude. Good game. That should have not put me in as much terror as I thought it would when I threw that Shadow Ball. But anyway, terrible lead to Bastiodon. I'm going to come in with Dewgong here because one of two things happens. Either they swap out and they've got Medicham Victory Bell in the back, as they always seem to, or my opponent doesn't have a direct answer to Dewgong and they stay in with the Bastiodon, which then allows me to keep it off of my Skeledirge, which is also a win. So because we've got the Medicham out here and they are running Dynamic Punch, I can now fully farm down with Skeledirge because that means they're not running Psychic, as they typically just run Ice Punch or Power Up Punch and or Dynamic Punch. So we're going to see him have Ice Punch here, which allows me to go for a full farm down here. Shadow Ball doesn't do a ridiculous amount of damage into Bastiodon, but it does enough to make it, make it feel it a little bit. You know, it's like when you get nudged in the chest, nudged in the shoulder. You're going to feel it, but it's not going to do too much to you. So 1 Shadow Ball comes out. And then I'm going to go into Superior and see what happens. That's a goddamn Skarmory in the back. I don't know. Because this trainer has absolutely no safe play into a Mudboy. Because most of the ones now beat Skarmory because of Steel Wing. So I shield these up because what I'm hoping to do is I'm trying to go for some charge moves, do some damage. And what I'm really hoping is I can maybe get the Switch Timer to come back up so I can pop in with Skeledirge and go for another Shadow Ball, maybe get a shield or something. But at this point, it's looking very dim as I swap immediately. Opponent stays in. They can go for a bit more energy. I'm going to go for my Shadow Ball, and at this point, I don't know, man. My only hope here is that the opponent is low enough on that Skarmory to get KO'd by a Frenzy Plant, but they don't even need to shield much. I'm going to get taken out here by these smackdowns before the opponent even loses their second shield, so I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace just because why not? Because why not? All they have to do is shield, though, when they win. This is a good game. They go for the move right here immediately. Skarmory has a move loaded in the back. This is a genuinely unwinnable game. Opponent had me hard countered on all 3 fronts. There's nothing I can do, so is what it is, man. Getting a really spicy lead in the game next here. Shiny Chandelure. Almost lost my tongue twister on that one, but I go for the Disarming Voice. My opponent looks to catch the Shadow Ball on their normal type cast form, so it was a nice catch attempt. I'm going to immediately come in with Superior, as they usually have Energy Ball, Rock type, Weather Ball, so I'd rather take this the neutral damage here from the cast form. So being able to go for some extra energy here. Going to go for this Aerial Ace, as I imagine the opponent probably wants Switcher to be able to farm down with my, At this point, I imagine the opponent's probably going to want to farm down with Chandelure. There we go. The thought process came together at last. So I go for the Aerial Ace, not quite enough here. Opponent is able to get to a move before I can farm down. So instead of being able to get only 1 or 2 moves off, now I'm only going to be able to get 1 off, but I am able to farm down. Going to go for the Frenzy Plant immediately as the opponent goes for their Incinerate. The Vine Whip really wasn't going to do enough damage to matter there. But now we're going to come back in with Skeledirge, and if you remember before in the matchup, if you were watching the damage from Incinerates, Skeledirge's Incinerates are doing a little bit more to the Chandelure than theirs is doing to me. So now, even though they're going for these flame charges, I'm keeping an eye on the Incinerate damage, and if I'm able to farm down here, which it looks like I'm going to be able to get there in 2, I will be able to take out Chandelure, and now they have a normal type in the back, and I went for the Disarming Voice instinctively seeing that. It's a Lanoon. It's not a good matchup for either of the Pokemon that I have left, as Grass Knot and Thunder are the typical charge moves on a Lanoon, but I don't know how much damage this is going to do, so I guess we're just going to find out. Thunder does a lot of damage, so what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to go for the Icy Wind. Opponent's going to have to shield, or they're going to lose their Lanoon here, so they do shield this up, and if I can get to the next move, which I should, they could have gotten to the Grass Knot, but then I would have been able to go for a charge move against them with my Skeledirge. So this was thankfully a win-win either way, but good game to the opponent. Very much respect for that team. Very spicy. I love it. Getting into the next battle here, we've got Skeledirge into a Venusaur. Skeledirge once again doing what it needs to do here as the opponent swaps in a Pelipper. I'm going to bring in my Dugong. And here's the thing with these matchups, okay? They always go up to the Hurricane, right? And then they throw. And every single time I no shield and they just throw Hurricane. So I try to play to that, and of course they throw Weather Ball. And I'm like, God dang it. Okay, fine. So we're going to go for the Icy Wind. They shield in kind. So at least I got the shield back, okay? The opponent now is going to go for another charge. I'm like, surely. Surely this time they throw the Hurricane, correct? And no, they go for another bait. I can't, man. I can't make this up. Every time I play this matchup, they go for Hurricane, except for this one time, it feels like. So I mean, good job to the opponent for baiting correctly and getting the mind games out there, but thankfully, because of the double attack drop, I'm going to be able to go for a farm down here after they throw. This is a Weather Ball. I have no shields. I can't really find out how much it does, but because I see how much damage it actually does, now I know I can farm down here. And I have 2 moves ready for the Venusaur that comes back in here, except it's not a Venusaur, it's a Lantern. And this trainer is completely weak to the Dragonair. That's what I'm saying, dude. Dragonair slaps in this meta right now. But because I was like, man, if they catch the Drill Run on the Venusaur, that would be so 5-head of them. But I get alignment here, and it doesn't matter, right? So I have my Superior for the Lantern. Doesn't matter. They look to try to catch a, or they throw a move here, and I imagine that they're going to try to catch here on this Venusaur quite shortly here as they look to try and get the energy, but I'm just going to go in with my Skeledirge. And honestly, because of the buff to Incinerate, I can fully farm this thing down now. Before, I would have had to throw a charge move. Now, I can fully farm down in just 5 Incinerates, and that is wild, dude. That is insane. The damage boost from that is crazy. I have 2 charge moves. I just let the Shadow Ball loose, and that's going to be a game here. Well played to the opponent, but I guess, yeah, RPS sucks. It does. That's what you get for double baiting me with Pelipper. Respectfully. Well played to the opponent. Okay, so we get a not so great lead, so I'm going to go into my Dugong here. I do get to an Icy Wind before the opponent gets to a Power Whip, but since I'm going to shield the first Power Whip, even if I get the Icy Wind, I'm just going to over-farm here and shield anyway, because they probably go for Power Whip. And then if the opponent swaps in, at least then I know I have some extra energy. But now I have 2 Icy Winds ready to go here, so I can actually double debuff, so the next time they throw Power Whip, it's not going to do nearly as much. The opponent immediately swaps into a Registeel, so they have a Registeel in the back, and they have a Lickitung in the lead. This person has no respect for Medicham or its ilk, any fighters at all. So, unfortunately, right before I get to my Drill Run, the opponent gets to their move, and I'm just going to have to eat it. Focus Blast takes out my poor Dugong there.
Kaboom!
But now the Incinerates are going to start adding up, as I'm going to have to throw energy, unfortunately, against the Registeel before. Then it would be able to get to a Zap Cannon, I have to shield again, and that would just be bad news. So, going to take out Registeel. Opponent still has 2 shields left, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. I mean, the opponent's Lickitung has some energy, and their energy is fairly useless into my Skeledirge, but the Superior is going to come back in after they throw in their Azu, and they're not swapping immediately, which is odd to me. Maybe their switch clock's not up yet, I don't know. There it is. I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here. The opponent will be likely to shield here because they have 2 shields, and they have a Azumarill in the back, which is a dreadful matchup for Superior here. So they're going to throw a move. This is a Body Slam or a Resisted Power Whip. Either way, I know I live it. I'm going to just put it all on the back of my Skeledirge to win this game here. Going to go for the Frenzy Plant, hoping to try and KO the Lickitung so I don't have to take any super effective licks. But it lives with 1 HP, and I can't swap because that's just how it is. And now the opponent is not able to get to a charge move, which is huge. So now I'm hoping that they're going to respect a Shadow Ball here, and I'm going to go to 100 energy. I'm going to throw a Disarming Voice, and I'm hoping that they shield right now, but they don't, and now I'm scared because I'm trying to keep track of their energy, and they're just now past, I think they're just now past a move, so they're going to be able to get to a couple more moves here, but they throw 1 here, and then their move, and now I'm going to shield this up, and if I can get to another, if I can get to the Shadow Ball, I win the game, but the opponent is not able to get to their next charge move before I'm able to get to the Shadow Ball. We're going to take out the Azu, and that is a good game. Well played. That was actually a really tough game. All right, getting into the next battle here. We've got Skeledirge on the lead versus Suicune. Dude, shiny Suicune. I'm so jealous. I don't have a shiny Suicune. And they have the Victory Bell, and I'm like, oh, come on, trainer. My respect for you just went out the window. What is this? So they've got Shadow Victory Bell in the back. That's got to be like the one thing that I really didn't want to deal with. But we do get the shield. So what I probably should have done here was not throw, not throw any fast moves. Should have let them farm me down. So I could have gotten a bigger farm down from Skeledirge. Skeledirge here would be able to do a lot of damage with its energy, especially because they've already given up a shield. So now what I'm going to do is let them hit me with their Acid Spray, and I want to go for the Shadow Ball, but they're going to be able to get to a move, unfortunately, before I am. So I have to shield this up as a potential Scald, and then we're going to go for 1 more Incinerate for good timing, and then go for the Shadow Ball to either get the shield or deal a lot of damage to Suicune. And after this, I'm going into my Superior because I'm double debuffed. I would rather get out of here. And the opponent's got a goddamn Skarmory in the back. So, like I said, just like that Bastiodon game, the only 2 games that I lost from with this team in these 2 sets were genuinely just unwinnable. I can't win this unless the only reason that I could win this here is if for somehow I was able to get a farm down on this Skarmory, which our switch timers are far too aligned for that, and they're not throwing energy because they also identify that if they just throw their energy right away, I can farm them down and I can beat them. So they go straight for it. I'm going to try to farm down, but the opponent's switch timer is up right after this charge attack. I have to shield this, or I have to shield the next move. They go for the Sky Attack. I think I could have even lived that, but I didn't have enough energy to get to 2 charge moves anyway because they swapped out. I was hoping to get the full farm down. So, Disarming Voice 1, going to get the shield. The opponent has move reloaded, and unfortunately, that's going to do it for this game. I will get taken out here by the Scald. Well played. Very much looking forward to using Suicune in the Ultra League with Scald, though. Getting into the next game here, we've got a Skarmory on the lead. This is where I need to see it. And we're going to be able to make it get out of here. And then he come in with a Medicham. And I'm just kind of sitting here like, they really just came in with the Medicham, and they throw with bad timing. They threw right away and gave me an entire Incinerate for free. So I'm going to go for Shadow Ball. I'm just going to get rid of this thing. I'm like, it's fine. I'm fine with this. Go for Shadow Ball. The opponent shields up the Shadow Ball. They really don't like Skeledirge. They go for another Power-Up Punch. That's fine with me. I wonder if they're running Power-Up Punch, Dynamic Punch. I'm not really sure what this trainer's doing, but we're throwing on CMP. The trainer does not care about timing. They're just going straight for the moves when they get them. And if I had taken advantage of that, I could have probably come out of this matchup even healthier, or not healthier, but with more energy than before, as we're just going for moves here. But I'm going to go for the full farm down. The opponent now goes to 6, so I'm like, okay, this could potentially be an Ice Punch. Don't want to lose my Skeledirge, because I kind of need it to deal with the Skarmory. And opponent comes back in with the Skarmory. And I can pretty easily get to 2 Shadow Balls here without an issue. Going for the Shadow Ball here. Going to go for another Shadow Ball. And I'm like, man, at this point, whatever they've got in the back, Dugong and Superior can certainly handle it with a shield. I don't even know what it's going to be, but we'll find out. It's a Shadow Victory Bell. And it's at this point that I'm like, trainer, you deserve the Skeledirge that you just received. Thank you very much. You have a good day. Skeledirge destroys a team. Well played. Trainers, if you don't know me by now, I have a distinct dislike for things like Shadow Victory Bell, things like Bastiodon, things like Skarmory. Just a super RPS, like, no brain kind of Pokemon that you just tap the phone and you you don't really, there's not really much to them, right? They're all fast move damage. You just tap, 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 tap. I have no respect for those Pokemon. I don't hate the people that run them. I have a little bit less respect for them, but that's okay. They're people and they deserve respect to a degree. But those Pokemon make me angry. And I enjoy beating them whenever the opportunity arises. So opponents staying in with their Lantern here, this is fine with me as it's going to keep it off my Skeledirge. At this point, I'm happy to let the Dugong go. Dugong has done its job. We're going to get to come in now with the Superior and try to get some farm in, or quickly react to a swap if they decide to swap out, as most of them would. Opponents staying in for a little bit here, maybe looking to chip damage. I'm not really sure what would make them want to stay in like this, but they're going to stay in and get fully farmed down, so I'll eat the Thunderbolt in exchange for all that farm. Opponent comes in with a Superior, and now I can see that they probably don't have a good answer for Superior, as the Aerial Ace comes through, does quite a bit of damage, and I think at this point I may even just go into my Skeledirge, because it's still fully healthy here. And I don't really want to take the damage. So I go into Skeledirge, trying to catch a move. Opponent comes in with a Pelipper here. And it's now, at this point, we have to figure out what we're going to do. So what I'm looking to do here is I eat one Weather Ball because I need to keep that shield. I'm going to go for the Disarming Voice. I'm going to hope it gets a shield. I'm going to be honest. I need it to get a shield. And it does, so I can go for the Shadow Ball next. The opponent throws right away. I don't care. I'm shielding this up at this point. If I can shield this up, I'm good. Going for the Shadow Ball here to get rid of this Pelipper, and Superior is healthy enough in the back to live one Aerial Ace and get to an Aerial Ace itself. We get the Kaboom on that Pelipper.
Boom!
Opponent throws a move because the Incinerate damage would have KO'd them otherwise, so that means that they don't have the energy they need to get to the move. The Aerial Ace, never mind, they have two moves. What am I talking about? But they had to throw. If they got that full farm down, I was done for. Right? So going for the Aerial Ace here, going to be able to take out the opponent's Superior. This is going to be a good game, well played. And there we go, taking the dub as 2 4-1 sets to climb up to, I don't even know what rank I'm, rank 12, 11? I don't even know what rank I get to after this battle. Getting to rank 12 and 12 and a half. There we go. So making it up the pole, so to speak, looking to hopefully get the elo in the next week or two. But let's just have some fun on the way up, right? Why not? Thank you all very much for watching. We're going to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.